So I got a little ahead of myself. I was really excited to make this video. I thought I'll do it dressed as it because that's the way that I roll. Did my face like this. Then I realised I don't have the hair or the teeth or a costume to wear or even a balloon to use as a prop. So this is gonna go. At least I can use it for the thumbnail, I suppose. It Chapter 2 is the sequel to It, obviously, except this time round, instead of a bunch of ragtag kiddies riding around on bikes and fighting demon clowns, we get their adult counterparts doing much of the same, really. The film is set 27 years after the events of the first film, with the Losers Club back in Derry after they find out that Pennywise is once again getting his fix of the local youth. That makes it sound like he's a pedophile. That's inappropriate. I really loved the first movie. I thought it was incredibly casted, it was well shot, and I loved how imaginative some of the horror elements were. It Chapter 2 manages to replicate some of the pizzazz, however it is definitely not without its flaws. You could say, like Georgie's arm in the first film, It Chapter 2 is disjointed. Let's start with some of the positives because there is definitely a lot to like here. Firstly, the casting is spot on. Not only does each actor look like their younger counterpart, they've also copied the mannerisms and personalities the kids brought to the first film, so you truly do feel like you're watching the grown-up versions of each character. As a lot of people have said, Bill Hader is definitely the standout in this film. He's absolutely incredible, but I think all of the cast did a really good job here. Shout out to Jay Ryan, who plays Bill in this film. He's a Kiwi actor, and a little bit of a backstory on him. He was kind of famous in New Zealand, had moved to LA to get his big break in Hollywood, and had basically given up. So he was 2 days away from leaving LA and moving back home when he got cast in this movie. So just goes to show, guys, never give up on your dreams. I've also watched a fair few reviews of this movie where people have said that the film is very long. It clocks in at just under 3 hours, but in all honesty, it didn't feel that long to me. The movie, not it, the movie. It being the subject pronoun. This movie didn't feel that long to me, that's what I'm trying to say. So I was quite entertained by this film, and I do love seeing how imaginative they get with all the scenes wherever Pennywise shows up. But as I did say, this film is quite flawed. So let's begin with the flashback sequences. As a plot point, each character had to go back and find an object relating to their experience as a kid in order to remember what happened in Derry those 2.5 decades prior. But because there are so many characters, these flashback sequences did seem to take up a lot of runtime. I don't know if this is just me, but I did find these flashback sequences quite confusing as to where they actually fit within the timeline. For example, they'd go back to when they had defeated Pennywise, or I assumed when they defeated Pennywise as kids, but then Pennywise would show up in the flashback, but then he'd also show up again in the present day with the adults thinking about the past. It was so confusing. I got a little lost. There were also things that didn't feel overly organic in the way that they were either introduced or resolved. For example, Beverly kissing Ben. Like, I know she had something with Ben in the past as a kid, however in the film she ends up with Bill, which all of that makes sense, but then why have the kiss with Ben in the first place? It happened and then it was kind of never referenced again. And another thing that felt a little bit out of place was the death of the random neighborhood kid that Ben kept seeing around. Like, I wish that he had been someone that Ben had known in some capacity, the child of a childhood friend, for example. That would have made his death feel more connected to Ben rather than being just this kid that happens to always be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, and one other thing I definitely did not like was the Native American connection to Pennywise. So I'm sure that this is how it all goes down in the book. I've not read the book, I don't know, but I would have preferred Pennywise stay mysterious and not have to have had a backstory, especially one not involving a spooky vase. No. Not feeling it. I was about to wrap up, but then I remembered there is one last thing that I have to mention in this video, and that is, what on earth is it with Stephen King hating on the gays? Oh my goodness. So there's 3 gay characters in this film. The first one gets beaten to near death, thrown off a bridge, and then eaten by Pennywise. The second one watches his lover get beaten to near death, thrown off a bridge, and then eaten by Pennywise, and then he gets eaten by Pennywise. And the third one watches the man slash boy he has loved for over 27 years get killed by Pennywise. It's not very good for the rainbow flag in this film, I tell ya. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie despite its flaws. I thought it was funny, the acting was great, I had a really good time. So I'm going to give it Chapter 2 a 7 out of 10. But what did you guys think of it Chapter 2? Let me know in the comment section below. On a slightly unrelated note, they had the trailer for Dr. Sleep before this film, Dr. Sleep being the sequel to The Shining, and it looks lame. It looks so lame. It kind of looks like The Darkest Minds or I Am Number 4 or some other like young adult kids superpower movie. Not on board with it. I really hope it's better than its trailer. But that's it from me today, guys. Now that I've got my own room, I'm hoping to bring some videos more often. I really want to get back into regular filming. The setup still isn't great, as you can probably tell by my backdrop and all the car noises you've probably heard throughout this video, and the fact that I'm still using natural lighting, but it's a work in progress. I will get there, I promise. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you guys here for the next one. Caw-caw!